First up today, we have Immutep, ASX code IMM, and they have a market cap of around 410 million. Immutep is a clinical stage biotech company at the forefront of developing novel LAG-3 immunotherapy for cancer and autoimmune diseases. Presenting today for Immutep, we have CEO and Executive Director Marc Voigt. Marc, welcome back, and over to you.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you, and welcome everyone else. Great to be the first one here. At Immutep, we are dealing, let me tell this up front, with the patient's immune system. So we are active in immuno-oncology as well as in autoimmune diseases. And in oncology, you would like to have an active immune system, while in autoimmune diseases, you would like to bring it under control. So this will be the next few slides. If we go to the next one. My forward-looking statement, and then to the next. And actually, we are leading in terms of LAG-3, which is a validated immune checkpoint, and you can refer to those immune checkpoints like little triggers in your immune system with which you can turn the immune system on or off, so where you can activate the immune system or dim it down. We have actually first-in-class candidates, and especially in immuno-oncology, we have with eftilagimod alpha a great concept which saw great results in multiple different clinical trials. We are working with a big pharmaceutical industry. You see a few names here on this slide, and we are globally active. Our headquarters is in Sydney, in Australia, and then we have subsidiaries in Germany, France, and in the United States. And it's, of course, when you are active in oncology as well as autoimmune diseases, a great chance and a great market opportunity. On the next slide, you see here our pipeline, and I will focus today on the program on top called eftilagimod alpha, which we test in different clinical trials, and briefly at the end also in terms of IMP761 at the bottom. But we have a broad and deep pipeline. We're actually leading the LAG-3 space. On the next slide, and then the next. Here, let's talk a little bit more about eftilagimod and the specific and unique way we address cancer. We activate antigen-presenting cells, key cells in our immune system. And those cells provide the killer cells with the information whom to attack, and is also generating more of those killer cells referred to as CD8 T cells. And those cells are finally doing the killing job. So we activate the immune system in a unique way, and we address very relevant cells in our immune system. On the next slide. And this has been getting quite some attention across the globe, especially at the worldwide most relevant conferences in the space. See here pictures, for instance, on the far left-hand side from ASCO in Chicago, the worldwide biggest and most relevant clinical oncology conference, 3,000 people in the room. First Australian biotech since 2018, I believe, having an oral presentation. Mid of that page, you see a late-breaking oral presentation, first time for any Australian pharma or biotech company to have that at SITC in Boston, and then in Spain in October last year in Madrid, presenting also at the European most relevant oncology conference. And the data on the next slide we presented is really relevant because it deals with non-small cell lung cancer, which is one of the biggest markets in oncology and has a high unmet medical need. When you are discussing different indications in oncology, you always talk about billions, and the market is believed to be round about $48 billion in non-small cell lung cancer alone. And we work in a variety of different cancer indications. On the next slide. The data we presented has been out of this clinical trial here. It's a trial we run in collaboration with US Merck. The trial is called TACTI-002, 114 patients. We saw mature data readouts. You see here the patient's baseline characteristics. Take-home message is that we have a representative patient population, and we work together with the industry, which speaks for the data integrity, for the trial design, and for the relevance of our results. And on the next slide, You see, and I will put it into perspective in a second, you see here our results in terms of overall response rate, so percentage of patients experiencing tumor shrinkage. Overall, 40% of patients had a defined relatively big tumor shrinkage, median progression-free survival, median duration of response, and then finally, of course, most relevant, median overall survival. And the results you see here, you can judge on that better on the next slide, actually, if we move to that one. Fabulous results, among the best, if not the best, results from a combination of Keytruda, pembrolizumab plus eftilagimod. And Keytruda is the top-selling drug in the world, making $25 billion last year, and 40% of that is out of non-small cell lung cancer. It's a standard of care drug, a drug which revolutionized the scene. And you see here, in terms of, for instance, median overall survival, the bars on the left-hand side, compared to other clinical trials with Keytruda monotherapy, we doubled the median overall survival. And we saw great results across the board of all the different efficacy parameters, from tumor shrinkage to progression-free survival, duration of response, and finally median overall survival. So it might not be a surprise that we got those top presentation spots at the most relevant conferences. The next slide. Also, if you compare versus other standard of cares, including the combination of 4 different drugs here at the bottom, Ipi/Nivo plus 2 cycles of chemotherapy, or Keytruda plus chemotherapy, our median overall survival is outstanding, and we activate the patient's immune system in a unique way and in a safe way. So we have not side effects which are leading to discontinuation of taking the drugs, not more than Keytruda monotherapy. So the safety is actually a big strength of eftilagimod. The next slide. We also test eftilagimod in first-line non-small cell lung cancer together with chemotherapy and Keytruda. And there we have so far recruited 21 patients. Or here you see results of 21 patients. We actually recruited more, around about 30 now. And if you compare the results, preliminary results, we have been presenting also at October last year, you see that 70% of patients experiencing a tumor shrinkage. So this is very relevant compared to approved standard of care. Smaller number of patients, but always need to be careful with not to overinterpret the data, but it points exactly into the right direction. On the next slide. Yes, we also presented data in head and neck cancer at ESCO last year. Terrible disease. We saw very good results. You see here also a number of so-called complete remissions, so complete disappearance of tumor. And on the next slide, something we are waiting for, we are very excited about, is TACTI-003, first-line head and neck cancer. It's a trial, again, together with Merck, Keytruda, plus eftilagimod versus Keytruda, so it's a controlled clinical trial. The trial is fully recruited since November last year, 171 patients, and you can expect first results in first half of this year, so not in the too distant future. We will have results from cohort A, which is a randomized part, looking at CPS between 1 to 19 and greater equal 20, and CPS below 1 in cohort B, which can't be randomized. For part B, the expectation would be, according to historic control, 5% response rate, so we would need to be meaningfully better. And in cohort A, we, of course, would like to be better than control. So first half of this year, very important event. Next slide. We are also active in head and neck cancer, in metastatic breast cancer, apologies, in a phase 2/3 clinical trial. We are currently recruiting the phase 2 portion, randomized. This is also exciting, and you will hear more about this also in first half of this year. The next slide. IMP761, switching gears to autoimmune diseases. We are also excited about this program here, a potential game changer, the way you treat autoimmune diseases, addressing the root cause of the disease, which are the chronically LAG-3 activated T cells. And we are silencing those T cells. We are bringing them back under control. And we would like to be in clinical development by mid of this year. Currently, we get practically, if you look at the analyst reports, 0 credit for this program. I believe there is a good chance that this will change in the future. The next slide. We had a very good last year. I hope for a very good year 2024. We are coming from a position of strength, more than 100 million Australian dollars cash on bank, according to our last 4C. Cash life till early 2026, very good institutional register, extremely important milestones in the first half of this year. We are working on a phase 3 in first-line non-small cell lung cancer, so a classical registration trial in the most relevant market. We are discussing with the regulators, we are discussing with the industry. You will definitely hear about this in the next few months. Head and neck cancer, first-line results from TACTI-003, more results from soft tissue sarcoma, urothelial cancer, metastatic breast cancers. We have a variety of clinical trials. It's a very versatile program. We will move forward in autoimmune diseases. Yeah, and that's about it in a nutshell.
Marc, fantastic, and always spot on the mark when it comes to time. Much appreciate it. Got a few questions, Marc, as always. Obviously, you've got a lot going on, so there's lots of different topics to talk about. Question just came in here. Could you please give an outlook of taking the result of TACTI-003 from registrational application?
Yes, sure. So in first-line head and neck cancer, we have a fast-track designation from the FDA, meaning even though we are running a phase 2 clinical trial, which is traditionally not a registration trial, that's a phase 3, we do have the chance, in case we see stellar results, to file for so-called accelerated approval. So that's a biotech approach. So we do have that chance. Of course, we hope for the best, but also if that would not be achieved, a very good outcome is typically when you could go the next step and you see a difference and you prove your concept. So that would be, if you like, the normal expectation, stellar results, then you can even register with a phase 2.
Okay, another question here is going to test my pronunciation. How is patient enrollment progressing for urethral carcinoma and soft tissue sarcoma?
Yeah, very important. I'm glad about that question, actually, because it's very often overlooked in soft tissue sarcoma, the so-called neoadjuvant setting. We had, I believe in our last disclosure, were 9 patients. You could expect more as we speak. And we hope to have it fully recruited around mid of this year. This is a trial which is run in Poland and financed by the Polish government, by the way. So we try to move forward also in a capital efficient manner. First patient in for urothelial cancer, a trial where German Merck is also putting some money on the table to run that clinical trials without right and title to our drug. First patient in, we press released it in early January. And I don't believe we gave an actual guidance regarding recruitment, but recruitment is obviously ongoing in multiple different centers.
Fantastic. And a question here, how important was the efficacy and tolerability data from the Insight 003 phase 1 trial?
Oh, strategically quite important, because when you look at the whole spectrum in non-small cell lung cancer first line, on the one hand side, we tested with TACTI-002 chemo-free, quite important. We saw great results. I presented those. But if you go below 50, there is an overlap in 1 to 49 and below 1. I don't go too much into detail, but there is typically a chemotherapy backbone. So when you would like to address different settings and you discuss with different partners, it's important that you can demonstrate from a safety and efficacy point of view that you have the chance to work with or without chemotherapy. And we're in a position to do that, I believe.
Right, so, and this week, I believe you announced a new non-executive director, Anne Anderson, to
Indeed.
your board. Give us a bit of detail about Anne and her background.
She has a background in finance, is a seasoned businesswoman, She has been working for years with UBS. So she is strengthening in Australia our financial capabilities of the board, especially after you may recall Grant Chamberlain about 2 years tragically passed away. So we wanted to build the board, and we may continue to do that also in the future with reasonable and good steps and the right profiles.
Fantastic. And you touched on this earlier. You've got a lot going on at the moment. Just give investors a taste of what to expect over the coming few months, Marc.
Oh, a lot of data. PACTI 003 data, Insight 003 more data, soft tissue sarcoma potentially data, metastatic breast cancer data, regulatory interactions, phase 3 trial design, and potential updates from our partners. So there's quite a lot to expect.
Okay, well, we'll be watching very, very closely. Marc, really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're in Germany. Always good to have you on. You have a great day and a great weekend.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you.